Good morning. Welcome to the first day of this week-long challenge that I'm doing. I got ready for the day and I've made a matcha, which already kind of makes me feel like I'm behind on the challenge because I'm losing time. Koda and I don't necessarily have reservations today, but we are planning on going to brunch today. So I don't have like too much time. So I do want to read at least for like half an hour though. This morning, I feel like I did relatively well. I just looked through my emails because one of my flights got canceled and I needed to figure that out. But also Koda was starting to show me videos on his phone, and after like 2 to 3 I had to be like, bro, I gotta go. So I've like brushed my teeth and washed my face already for the day, and of course got myself a drink. I think I'm just gonna sit at my desk instead of in bed because Koda has kindly already made the bed today. The book that I am currently reading still is The Storm by Rachel Hawkins. I did think that I would get to read my Chonk book, but I think we can leave that for maybe tomorrow. I have maybe like 140-ish pages and change left of this book. This is a mystery thriller, an anticipated read for me. It came out in January. I have read other mystery thrillers by Rachel Hawkins, but have not really enjoyed them. I tend to enjoy her like YA romance more, but I still thought that I would give this one a chance. I think I've read the other ones and I've given them maybe at most 3. Definitely not 4 stars. It's gotten good. It's finally gotten there. There was a twist-ish that kind of is starting to intrigue me. We are in St. Medard's Bay in Alabama, and it is an absolute hurricane town. Has suffered through all of the worst ones, and the inn, Rosalie Inn, has always been the one left standing. Geneva Corliss is the current owner of the Rosalie Inn, and she is reached out to by a true crime author hoping to stay at her inn to do some research for a book that he's doing. And with him, he brings along Lo Bailey, who has been accused of a murder of a very prestigious man that she had an affair with way back in the day. That man ended up dead in the aftermath of the hurricane, and she was accused of the murder. She's there to clear her name in writing this book. They're basically there for like the whole summer, so Geneva, the owner, is starting to like learn more about them, and she thinks that Lo is there for more than just clearing her name. It is the summer, hurricane season is quickly approaching. There's like a lot more of Lo's secrets that can blow up the town. It's a very small town. Everyone kind of knows each other and hates this woman also because they all think she's did it, even though she was already tried by like a jury of her peers. We're jumping back and forth between the past and the present, seeing the relationship sort of, or like the courtship between the man, Landon Fitzroy, who is the son of the governor, and a lawyer on track to probably be like a senator or exactly like his father, and Lo, who is just 19 years old and Landon is 30. Let me set a timer of 30 minutes. Let's get to reading. In the 30 minutes, I read about 42 pages of this, and there has been quite a few things that went down because I'm like definitely like maybe 55% of the way through. Is that like half? Something has happened. Lo is so weird because she does love being the center of attention. I think at this point they've got to be like 60 or 70 years old because the death of Landon happened in the 80s. Also, the present chapters do this countdown as if something is going to happen. There are pages of the manuscript that the true crime writer August is writing, and they say pages of unfinished manuscript found among possessions of August Fletcher, which makes me think that something obviously happens, that there is probably another hurricane that is brewing that's going to maybe kill people, or there will be some emotions where somebody kills somebody and is left in the aftermath of yet another hurricane. It's also interesting because Lo had 2 other best friends within the town, Frida and Ellen. And Ellen is Geneva, the owner of the inn's mother. Now she has, I think, dementia or Alzheimer's and is in a home and is nonverbal at this point. Geneva, when she visits her, doesn't really get any answers. All she can do is mention Lo, and the mom will have a reaction every time that she does, and it's in a very weird way that obviously leaves her with more questions, like she'll jerk, or her eyes look scared, or she'll cry. Very strange things are happening. That's definitely keeping me intrigued. August is writing this book about Lo and has this connection with her, but also is a little bit wary of her. There's not a lot to be known about him as well. So Geneva is like into him, but she's also like, what are his motives in this? Also, because this is the South, there's like this sugariness about everyone's personality that is so fake, which makes it all a little bit more eerie, like you know some shit's really about to go down. I ended up reading 42 pages for my 30 minutes of reading, and later in the day I ended up reading 74 more pages, finishing The Storm, giving me a grand total of 116 pages for the day. Hello. Today it's Monday. I woke up today, snoozed a little bit, which I've been doing a lot lately. Don't love that for myself. My coffee is a milky mess. But you know what? I have more time than I did yesterday, actually, because I thought it was hair wash day, right? So today I'm gonna set the timer for 30, but if I can do more, I would like to do like maybe 45 because I'm starting a new book today and she's quite chunky. Yesterday, I finished The Storm by Rachel Hawkins. I read after my just allotted 30 minutes of the day, which I'm very happy with. I think I'm giving it like 3.75. I wasn't immediately like, okay, 4 stars, because there are other 4-star thrillers, mysteries that I've like enjoyed, but I think this is my favorite of the ones that she has written, that I could still kind of like give her a chance. The way that it ended up felt very like full circle in a really fucked up way. This is definitely a I support women's wrongs type of book that I like. I will say Landon, the governor's son who was killed at the beginning, is a fucked up individual, predatory man, first of all, because when he met these young girls, he was 25 and they were 15. Got together with them later, talking about how, oh, when I first laid eyes on you, absolutely not. That really just gave me the heebie-jeebies. But the whole reason what I wanted to do for this week was to read a chunky ass book that is overdue at the library. I'm so sorry. I do this a lot. Donate to your libraries, okay? The government is trying to take away funding for your library, so make sure that you are going there. It's literally free access to as many of books that you want, okay? The book that I want to focus on for this week and would like to finish within the week actually is Alchemised. Okay, SenLinYu, okay? She wrote this chunky ass book. It's over 1,000 pages. It has been quite a long time. Oh, my apologies. They have written this book. At first, when it was like coming out or people started to really talk about it, I did not know this was like all the rage because I guess it was all over like Book Talk, which I'm not on. I have never been a Wattpad girly, so I didn't know any of this like fan fiction stuff. From what I can tell, this is supposed to be a really broad Draco Hermione dark fantasy. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it has been a while since the hype. Everybody was reading it last year. I was surprised because the wait at the library for this looked super long, but in reality wasn't too long, but maybe because I wasn't really emotionally prepared for her to arrive, because hello, am I gonna be commuting with this? Apparently I'm doing that to myself. So if I look jacked as fuck, okay, anyone try to rob me on the subway, boom, okay, shoot me, she will protect me, okay? It looks so clean and the pages are like so thin and gorgeous. I guess you have to be because it's so thick, like a chunk book. I didn't even tell you what this is about because I low-key don't know. Let's just figure it out together. Okay. Once a promising alchemist, Helena Marino is now a prisoner of war and of her mind. Her resistance friends and allies have been brutally murdered, her abilities suppressed, and the world she knew destroyed. In the aftermath of a long war, Palladia's new ruling class of corrupt guild families and depraved necromancers whose vile undead creatures helped bring about their victory holds Helena captive. According to Resistance records, she was a healer of little importance within their ranks, but Helena has inexplicable memory loss of the months leading up to her capture, making her enemies wonder, is she truly as insignificant as she appears, or are her lost memories hiding some vital piece of the Resistance's final gambit? To uncover the memories buried deep within her mind, Helena is sent to the High Reeve, one of the most powerful and ruthless necromancers in this new world. Trapped on his crumbling estate, Helena's fight to protect her lost history and to preserve the last remaining shreds of her former self is just beginning. For her prison and captor have secrets of their own. Secrets Helena must unearth, whatever the cost. I've heard to like kind of tread lightly with this book and that it is a lot darker than you would think. I know that SenLinYu was the person who wrote those like fanfics, but clearly this is like much more expanded upon. I believe this is a standalone. All right, set the timer. My 30 minutes were up, and I think I'm gonna save more reading for my commute because I will have more time to read throughout the rest of the day-ish. It is very intense. Manacled was the original fanfic, and a lot of Manacled has been changed to create Alchemized. It is a very elaborate world already. There's a lot of different magic that has already been introduced, and with this being a standalone and also a book this thick, I'm hoping that there will be enough explanation in it that's easy for me to read. I always say that I don't read much of fantasy, which is kind of a lie because it was my top genre last year, surprisingly. I don't read a lot of like also adult fantasy, and it's usually a longer series where the books do have more time to discuss all of the world and the magic because there are many books. Helena has already woken up from this like trance stasis that they call it. She was in the stasis for about 14 months, which is incredibly long. I think at most it's usually 6 months, and no one has ever survived this long, so they want to study her. She was part of the resistance, which now that the resistance lost, the new power has been very cruel to those that were part of the resistance. And though she claims to have been like a low member as a healer, from what they can tell, parts of her memory have been altered, are missing, and they want to study her more to see why that is, how that is, and what they can figure out from her lost memories about the resistance. So there is like a hierarchy, and she is currently being sent to the High Reeve, the most powerful and ruthless necromancer. With there being necromancers, there are also vivimancers whose magic works on the living, although it seems like there are more necromancers within this world. We've met a member of the resistance already and high-ranking members within like this new power. I'm not really sure what I can say so far, but I'm really just trying to take in all of the information. After my 30 minutes were up throughout the day, I did end up reading 26 more pages, giving me a grand total of 65 for the day. I actually didn't read a lot yesterday. I fell asleep like a lot. She has now been taken to see the High Reeve. He's obviously like really rich, and this world is so creepy. So they have the Undying. I can't tell if it's like a different race of people within this world. They basically can shift into other bodies, whether they're alive or dead, to continue to live. So they can have the face of like somebody else but be like a different person, which was really creepy because Helena saw one of the Undying, except their emotions are like so dead. There's like nothing in their eyes, and it was someone that she knew in the resistance, but it wasn't actually them, which is so gross. If they shift into a dead person, obviously the corpse will start to rot, and so they have to shift into a different body. So they are trying to figure out how to shift into a live person, which I don't really know how that would work, because wouldn't you be killing them, or would that be like a Voldemort Professor Quirrell situation? I think I'm gonna try to go for the 45 today to make up for what I wasn't able to read yesterday. The timer went off and I read 48 pages, I think, just now. I was a little bit distracted. I'm starting to figure out a little bit more of the politics of this world, although it's still like a lot. I think they're all ruled by a religion, which goes back into astronomy and the planets, and there are different elements that they can manipulate with magic, but not everyone is able to use this magic. Just like the Muggles versus the witches and wizards. Like Helena's parents, the dad has very limited power and the mom has none. Helena herself is like a great healer. The new character, the High Reeve, she calls him Farron, which is his last name, but he comes from like a really old family, rich, one of the most like influential families. But in thinking about how this was loosely based off of Harry Potter, I'm starting to think, right, Farron is Draco, so the Malfoys are the old family, Helena is Hermione. Luke, he was like the face of the resistance, is Harry. The Apollo, the Principate, he was in power at their school, is Dumbledore. Farron has killed the Principate before. I'm still trying to like figure out what hierarchy is working and like how it was pre-resistance, also how their world worked. There's a lot of new names and there's like no glossary. There's also like no map of this world. They mentioned other countries and the politics. It's all like just so much, but the story is very interesting. It is supposed to be like a really dark romance as well, so I'm kind of waiting for that. Obviously right now Farron Farron and Helena hate each other because of where they stand within this world, like the resistance and not. I will say I'm entertained. I'm just trying to pick a lot of pieces out, which is why it's also taking me a little bit longer to read than normal. In my 45 minutes of reading, I completed 48 pages, and later in the day I read 73, giving me a grand total of 122 pages. Hello. Happy Wednesday. Full disclosure, I did spend time on my phone today. Oh my gosh, you can tell I just woke up. Like way too much time, so today we're gonna read for an hour. I do still need to go to the gym today, but thankfully because I work from home today, I have a little bit more leeway of how I'm able to spend my day here. I'm gonna make my coffee. I just decided to change things up and I'm gonna do a dalgona coffee situation. Sorry, there's like an automatic light over there. Let me make my coffee and then we could talk about my book, because my voice, y'all.
More of a mixed picture to reporters suggesting he did not in line with his.
I have a confession to make. I did not do my hour reading all in one go. I spent quite a bit of time scrolling on my phone because I ended up making a post on Instagram. So I didn't do everything all at once, which is really unfortunate. But I kind of saw this coming because, like I said, I was doing work from home. But I did finish my hour of reading and I read 89 pages. I'm now up to part 2. It has gone incredibly dark, and after reading that part, I had to pause the timer to look up some reviews about this because I haven't seen a lot of mutuals actually reading it. I know one girl that read it, but I don't actually have her Goodreads, I think. So I was scrolling through like all of the bad reviews because I didn't realize how dark could be. So at this point, Helena has been sexually assaulted, like straight up raped multiple times. This is even like worse than what I imagined, knowing that it was like a dark romance. I'm gonna just take it as a fantasy and not so much as a romance because now I'm unsure if it actually is. Maybe Manacled was. I am really quite uncomfortable by that. The transference that Farron does to Helena reminds me of like 11 in Stranger Things, and also someone does it in Welcome to Derry. I did have to like Google a couple things just to clarify what things mean, like if Farron is undying, the undying versus the necrothralls. The necrothralls are basically like the inferi in Harry Potter, the manipulated corpses that are just made to be servants, and the undying are an immortal like army. Cain is an undying who has been alchemically transformed apparently, and they have found out that Helena is an animancer. So there's a necromancer who manipulates dead matter, the vivimancer, which she is as a healer, can manipulate living matter, and then the animancer, which she also is, which is very rare, and so is Farron, and it is a specialized practitioner of resonance, manipulating spirits, memories, and emotions. So it would seem that Helena herself has used her ability to hide what she knows about the resistance, the eternal flame. I like don't know why they're still trying to extract information from her. Maybe they're not, because now of what has happened, of like the result of the sexual assault. So this is a lot. I will say the pages are really thin and soft, so I like have a habit of like really touching the pages when I'm reading because it feels so smooth and good. I'm very happy with the number of pages I've read within an hour. Disappointed that I didn't do it in the morning, but still happy nonetheless. I like don't really know what to say, how much I can say, but this book is really outrageous. I did make a post about it and my friend said that she read it but like had to like put it down because of how dark and long it was getting. I obviously do not have that luxury because this book is overdue at the library. Yikes. Somebody help. I will say initially the book was giving me like Shatter Me vibes because it's like the prisoner and the captor, but that still is also giving me like a lot of Stockholm syndrome. In reading for 1 hour, I read 89 pages. I read a little bit more afterwards, 28 pages more, giving me a grand total of 118 pages.
Like just under 8 hours.
My 30 minutes aren't up, but I wanted to talk a little bit more about what I'm finding interesting. I'm now in part 2. We're now being thrown into the past of Helena's past, at least, being shown what it was like being in the resistance, how much fighting is being done. It seems like the resistance is in a good place at the moment, except that Helena is super busy as a healer. I think that they believe in different planets The Eternal Flame, the Resistance, believes in the sun. Their religion revolves around the sun. The High Necromancer, they believe in something else. That's why Eternal Flame, they're so against Vivimancers, because they believe that healing injuries are cheating death. So a lot of healers can practice for decades without any consequences, but it's sort of like burning the candle at both ends, because to heal a mortal wound or reanimate the dead required vitality, a drop of life itself. Healing came with the highest cost. That was why the faith considered it a purifying act and allowed its practice while forbidding all other forms of vivimancy. Becoming a healer would slowly carve away Helena's lifespan, like a candle being burned at both ends. Someday, she didn't know when, her resonance would begin to wither and fade, and Helena would go with it. She felt it sometimes while healing, a sensation like sand in an hourglass being diverted, flowing from her fingertips and into her patients. Farron is able to heal a little bit as well because he was a general on the battlefield, is how he describes it. It just seems like he's so adept at anything that he does. Strahd reminds me of that scary lady from The Handmaid's Tale. I'm enjoying part 2 a lot more because I'm learning more about the background of this world and also the characters and how they're all related. Helena has a mission and we're going to see why her memories are wiped in the first place. And everything's kind of piecing together more so I can get better grasp how this is all going to go down. Then the resistance happened because Holdfast Luke is supposed to be the real heir, which is like a religious thing, but the Farrons family, a very old family, older than their society itself possibly, believes that they should rule because of how much influence and power that they already currently have. Now I'm understanding more. Maybe we all got that and I didn't. There might be something more to connection between Farron and Helena than we all thought. In my 30 minutes, I read 33 pages, and on my commute, I read 20 more pages, giving me a grand total of 53 for the day. I still have 5 minutes left on my timer of 30 minutes today. I'm currently on chapter 32, still in part 2, which I'm enjoying a lot. I feel like this is also really awkward knowing about what happens in part 1, like the assault, because seeing how their dynamic develops in part 2, it kind of makes sense that the hate to love kind of stems from there, even though I still think that the sexual assault is incredibly extreme. He definitely has a huge soft spot for her, and it makes me curious about what he thought about her in school. Currently, Helena has these trainees that are there to help her, although they are low-key a threat to show her how expendable she can be in the sport. Her main priority is to keep Farron satisfied and to kind of be the liaison between him and the resistance. They are gearing up for this huge thing, which I think might be the downfall. I kind of think that Farron, what's the word, double-crossed them possibly. I am slowly getting through it. I'm not sure how much I can read later because Coda and I still have to do our New York Times games on our commute, and then we are coming home late unfortunately, but we want to make sure that we're getting a lot of sleep because of the BTS comeback concert on Netflix on Saturday morning. So tomorrow I'm definitely not going to be reading first thing in the morning. In reading for 1 hour, I read 39 pages. I later in the day only read 3 more pages, giving me a grand total of 42 for the day. Today's the last day that I'm doing this, and it's kind of a fail because it is currently 6 p.m. Coda and I woke up early to watch the BTS comeback concert on Netflix, and I was running on 4 hours of sleep. I was so exhausted. Coffee wasn't helping at all, that I was worried that if I read I would end up falling asleep, and I didn't want to do that. I've been sleeping really terribly the whole week, and my hope is to knock out early today, and I'm afraid that a nap would hinder my ability to do so. I've not read anything. I do want to read for about an hour at least, just to get a dent in, because I did so little reading yesterday as well. I only did the 30 minutes, and on my commute I'm pretty sure I only read 3 pages. I am not even halfway, it doesn't look like. The comeback concert was very, very fun, very good, so nice to see them back. I actually have to listen to the album in its entirety. I've listened to select songs mostly through the concert. And yes, I know I already wore the sweater this week. In my 1 hour of reading, I read 102 pages, and I did not read any more for the rest of the day, giving me the grand total of 102. It's been a couple days now, and I'm still reading this. I'm finally like 80% of the way through, and I wish that I could say that this challenge went really well, because in looking at all of the pages that I did end up reading that I was tracking in my bullet journal, I did read a little bit more than normal for like 2 days, because literally the day after I finished this challenge, I read like 250 pages. I wish that I could read that much every day. I think if I did this challenge again, I would literally just go pee and read. Literally in bed first thing in the morning. There were days where I would put it off and not read right away. I would do other things, but also because like the book that I ended up choosing, this chunky ass high fantasy book, just really took me a while to get into. Not that I'm not enjoying it, obviously, because I've been continuing to read it for over a week. Now, I do always read on my commute. Some days I was able to read more than others. There's like a number of factors that go into why I don't. I wish I could say this was like a huge success, but I think I would do this again. I hope you enjoyed. This could be something that you try to incorporate, like designated times for you to read more throughout the day. I haven't done this challenge in like a few years and thought it would be nice to do again. So I hope you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts on Alchemised, because by the time this video comes out, I should be done with this. I will see you all in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!